Welcome back to Calm AF. I'm Kristen Finch, and you're listening to episode 330. This is the second half of my conversation with Susan, and this one it's like a freaking masterclass. Susan is one of my long-term clients / friends. We've been walking this Calm AF journey together for almost 4 years now, and she really is this living, breathing, walking, talking proof that this shit works if you actually do it and you live it instead of just learning about it. Susan is calmer, she's happier, she gets shit done faster, she makes decisions without drama, and get this, actually enjoys her life. Like, what a concept, right? But as I was re-listening to this conversation, what hit me and really kind of made me emotional was that it's not just that her life is better, although it is, and it really does matter, but it's that because she's better, her family's better. And this is really what it means to break cycles, to stop passing down the shit that was handed to you and decide this ends with me. So in this episode, you're going to hear exactly how she got there. She's going to talk about what nervous system awareness and regulation has done for her life and her 30-year marriage. Spoiler, game-changing. She will talk about her favorite concepts like the rubber band theory and purple cars. And then there's the infamous feelings room, the one that everyone wants to avoid like the plague because they're afraid to feel their feelings. Susan just walks her ass right in, lights a candle, and tells you how to feel your feelings without shutting down. I could go on and on why I adore this woman, but what I love most is how she took this whole process on and just trusted herself. She didn't overcomplicate anything. She didn't turn it into a big project. Changing her life wasn't a project. She just kept showing up again and again, just relentlessly committed and consistent-ish, which I believe is the recipe to live a Calm AF life. So this is Susan's Calm AF journey. And speaking of Calm AF journeys, Calm AF year enrollment opens August 11th. And what you're about to hear in this conversation, this is what's waiting for you inside Calm AF year. When you finally stop hoarding all the tools and all the information and trying to outthink your feelings, this is what happens when you stop trying to manage your life and instead you start living it and enjoying it, because that's the whole point of this life, right? Right. So let's get into it. Future self was a big shift for you. What else?
Well, it started with one phrase, nervous system first, NSF, because when you go from white knuckling it, you have to give your nervous system time to calm down and to get aligned, right? So it started there. That was like the little voice in my head, NSF, NSF. And to speak to that a little bit more in depth is becoming aware and staying aware of the Calm AF scale.
Yes.
Because I think before it was all just a mystery to me. Well, I'm hypervigilant doing stuff today because I'm behind, and that's just what you do because you have to get stuff done. And then hypovigilant is you're just lazy, you should be doing more. And I never really understood what it meant to be in those two states, to be able to recognize when you're hyper as opposed to hypo, and to understand what it meant to flop between them, that vacillating between the two is a thing also, and that it's all okay and it's kind of normal.
Yeah.
And you just need to be able to be onto yourself and be like, okay, we have tools we can use to get us more into the middle of that scale, which is the Calm AF. And it's just practicing. It's not even doing things. It's just awareness, really. There was something that came up the other day, and my husband, I said something that offended him, and we were talking about it the next day, and he's like, that really kind of took me aback. And I said, yes. And did you notice? I said, we'll talk about this later because it wasn't the time or the place. I go, my old self would not have said that. He goes, oh, that's a good point. Like, there you go.
Yes.
And that made me realize that I have learned. I
Yeah.
started to go hyper about something and I got myself right to the center again.
And even if in that moment you're not like, okay, I can get regulated right here, right now, the awareness allows you to be like, hold up.
Right,
If I say any more right now,
right.
we're going to start rolling in circles. We're just
Yes.
going to go around and around. We're going to be back in old patterns. We're going to bring
Yep.
up old things because that's what we
Yep.
do in dysregulated states. We aren't thinking from our neocortex,
Right.
pulling shit out that happened 10 years ago and
Oh,
fed
yeah.
at the other person.
Yep.
Just the awareness alone, you can pause. We will come back to this because I'm not regulated right now and I'm not trying to get regulated, but I don't want to go back into old patterns.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the exact conversation we had the next day because I did admit, I'm like, I know I lost my shit. Like I was starting to get, ooh,
Yeah.
but it was interesting to be able to gather myself and recognize it and be like, you know what? Let's just put a pin in this right now. We'll talk about it later. And I reminded him the next day, I was like, that would have not happened before. And he goes, yeah, you're right. It wouldn't have. And it's really just paying attention, and you don't have to wonder why it's a mystery because it's not a mystery.
Right. It's not a mystery. It's very predictable.
So again, just zero awareness of this prior to working with you because I knew at times life seemed rough, and then I knew at times it was like, oh, shoo, got through that. Never really understood what was happening or how to control it, how to
Yeah.
make it happen again. How do you simulate this?
Yes.
I want to
How do I
feel it.
stay in the good part?
Yes.
Yeah.
And just understanding that it's like a rubber band theory.
This is my favorite.
Yeah. You have taught us that when that rubber band's pulling back, there's a lot of tension and contention,
Yep.
and your life just feels a little too much and a little out of control. But if you stick with it and use the tools and just have faith that this too shall pass, because it does, and just know that you have to feel the feelings. Don't be doing anything to push the feelings down. Don't eat food. Don't numb out on Netflix. Don't do all the things that we love to do. And just be patient. And when that rubber band lets go, it flings you so much farther ahead than you were before. There's like really nothing else like it because you're like, oh, I didn't give up. I stuck with it. And here we are. Like I feel like I've leveled up.
Because I allowed myself to trust that just because it feels like I'm being pulled backwards or things aren't
Yeah.
going the way that I want them to be going, I can trust that this is what life looks like sometimes. And this is where your progress and your journey has been so remarkable is that you just keep letting yourself pull back and let yourself be moved back and trust that you are going to fling forward. And this trust is what matters because when you fling forward and you land way farther than where you started,
Yep.
you haven't just gone through a thing, you have embodied all of it. You've embodied the lessons, you have integrated the lessons, you have.
Yep. Well, you can't unknow what you learn. It's like taking all of the knowledge that you're gaining from when the rubber band's pulling backwards. And even though your brain's trying to tell you we're moving backwards, we're not we're not doing as good as we were yesterday. It's like, no, we're still learning some things and we still have some tools to implement and we're gonna get through it. And so then you lunge forward and you're like, okay, there it is.
Yep. You are what it looks like to let yourself go through all of the different stages without returning to the hypervigilance and the fear. You keep trusting yourself and the process. You keep trusting your future self and your current self and the tools. That to me is the ultimate calm AF energy. When you're like, whatever comes up, I got it.
Yep. And that's another point I wanted to make because you have asked me a key question several times. What if this is easy? So all the times when life was hard or a situation came up and our brains love to scream at us and go, this is going to be so hard. And to be able to let my brain freak out and then calmly say, but is there anything I can do to make this easy? Sometimes just the mindset around that alone, like the hard thing is still hard.
Yep. Yep.
But to learn that your brain will always look for proof of what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're thinking, what if this is easy? Your brain is going to find proof of that some way or another. There'll still be a hard component to it. But when you're telling yourself something is hard, it feels 20 times heavier.
Yes.
Than it really is. And I refer to that often, and I find myself reminding other people I'm in relationships with.
Yeah.
I'll ask them that question, like, what if you told yourself it's easy?
Yes.
Or what if there a way to make it easier? It's amazing how shifting your mindset can make a difference.
We don't get to opt out. Like part of being a human is you go through hard things, right? There's loss, there's fear, there's all of the things that come with being a human, living a human life. We don't get to opt out of that. So if we just accept that part of our journey, our choice to be here as a human, living in this human experience, is that bad things are going to happen and you're going to go through really hard things. If you just go forward accepting that, instead of every time something happens thinking it means something has gone terribly wrong, then it shouldn't be happening. It is happening. This is just what's happening. And taking off the heaviness of how do I fix it? How do I fix it? You just keep going. Nervous system first. Feel feelings.
Feel the feelings.
Your thoughts. Feel the feelings is like, oof.
Yeah. Going into the feelings room.
I talk a lot about the nervous system, and it's not that I don't talk about the feelings. They're really probably the most important, but I don't see any point in teaching the feelings room to people who don't have a firm understanding of the nervous system. But if you could kind of share.
Yep. Well, a couple of things about the feelings room. When you're an energy manager, a lifelong recovering energy manager, you train or trick yourself or train yourself into thinking that your feelings don't matter because you're so busy trying to manage the energy in the room or in a situation. So to just take ownership of that you do have feelings and your feelings are there and they do matter. And then the other big one for me is realizing that feelings seem so big and scary because of the stories around them. But feelings only last 90 seconds. The stories can last for hours.
For weeks, for months.
Or, yes, or a lifetime. Yes. So at first, the feelings room is really hard to go into because previous to doing this work, I was like, how do you ever get out of the feelings room? Then you realize, oh, I just needed some education. The feeling will last a minute and a half. You can get past that. Then pay attention to your thoughts about that feeling. And that's when you apply all of the other tools like, okay, what do I need to calm my nervous system? Because no matter what work we do about becoming calm AF, that will never change an actual feeling you have about something because we're human.
Yes, we're supposed to have those feelings. Yeah.
Yes. And some are good, some are not so good, some are scary.
Again, the reason why I don't talk about it a lot on a podcast is because there's no point going into a feelings room and saying, I'm going to sit with guilt. If you don't have a regulated nervous system, forget it.
Right.
You will die in the guilt room.
Well, because you don't know how to deal with the stories that are going on about the guilt. So the fact that I just was not aware of that at all has been very eye-opening and life-changing for me, because I can be very upset about something or very happy about something and realize that if that lasts more than the 90 seconds, then I have to really pay attention to what story I'm telling myself about it.
And all we have, because we're dysregulated, is that story of, I have to fix it, I have to fix it, I have to fix it. But you're not actually doing anything with it. You're just spinning out in it. So we have to learn how to feel our feelings, because a feeling, like you said, it's a 90-second physical sensation. Just the way we aren't terrified when we feel cold or hungry, or when we bump into the wall and we hurt our arm, it is a physical sensation. These emotions, we've like mysticized them as these little things that we don't know where they actually come from or what to do with them. They're a physical sensation that your body is experiencing to give you information. The same way hunger is, the same way cold is. My body's experiencing a physical sensation, and here's what I can do about it. But when it's an emotion, we're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Guilt. Let me just get in the fetal position
Yeah.
because I can't. No, it's just a feeling. But because we have such a long history with not feeling like we have any control over it, go back into preschool, right? We have these books about our feelings and, oh, I'm feeling sad because he took my toy. We get what they're trying to do. Like, we're trying to teach people how to be kind, but in doing so, we're teaching our kids that they have no ownership over their feelings. And so they take these feelings that feel bad in their body, right? And the story is like, that's bad. We're only supposed to feel good. If I feel anything other than happy, I'm doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good
It's
point.
so
Yep.
misguided and it's so impossible. Most people don't have the education or the practice of actually regulating your nervous system first so that you can go into a feeling and see, this is just a physical sensation. I can handle this. So I'm not going to die in the guilt room. If you were, okay, this is a just random question, but for the people who are listening to the podcast who have never had direct support, is there something that you think would be helpful in experiencing your feelings?
I would say get curious about it and know that it's not scary. The thing to maybe be a little scared of is how much you attach a story to your feelings. That is a thing to get curious about, because if you are doing that at a high level for all of your feelings or shutting them down and not feeling them, maybe your story is, I need to go numb myself out and eat food. Get curious about why you're either not feeling your feelings or why you're staying stuck feeling feelings. Like if you're mad at someone and you keep ruminating over the situation that made you mad, get curious about it, because your future self does not want you living in that state
Yes.
at all.
That's
It's not a good place to be. So,
that's such a good suggestion. Just get curious.
yes.
There is a story. Feelings are not dangerous. They just aren't. They're just physical sensations.
Yeah.
And if it feels dangerous and it feels like I need to numb out, I need to shut down, I need to fight, I need to flee, I need to fawn, whatever, get curious about that. There is a story there. Because truthfully, if we were to go real high level, like real zoomed out, every feeling state is neutral. What we know, because we're humans and we do have thoughts and stories, is that we have preferred feelings and we have non-preferred feelings.
Yeah.
And the non-preferred, the only reason they're non-preferred is because we have attached a human story to it. Like animals have feelings, but they don't have human thoughts. So when something happens, they respond, but they aren't sitting around being like, oh, is that going to happen again?
Right.
Or when's that? They're not sitting around creating more of the story to create more of the non-preferred feeling. They're just feeling the feeling, they're responding, and they're moving on. It's just our human brains. That's
Yep.
the issue. That's why we suffer. It's because we have a human brain and we have attached so many stories to everything that happens in an attempt to avoid the non-preferred feeling.
I ran across a reel online recently, and I realized after she was talking about it, it was the purple car theory. So, as you've taught us, whatever you're focusing on, you notice more of. So, if you're focusing on the negative, you're going to find more negative. Same thing with positive. But she said she was in a relationship with someone, and they noticed when they came home from work every day, they would just word vomit on each other about all the bad things that were happening. And it wasn't helping their relationship, it wasn't helping them get closer. So they decided to take a picture of the best part of their day. And then they would come home at the end of the day, and that would be how they start their conversation with each other. So I announced to my husband, guess what we're going to start doing? So we don't always get a photo, but I am so surprised at how it has changed the energy of our relationship. You rarely ever just have one best part of your day, because if that happens at 10 a.m., what are you doing the rest of your day? You're paying attention and trying to find another best thing, or questioning, maybe this is the best part of my day. So you end up sharing 3 to 5 things. And I have to tell you the story because I was like, there is no way this conversation would have ever happened. We've been married for 30 years and it's never happened. And however many more years we're going to be married, it never would have happened. He said, what was the best part of your day? I said, my hair appointment. And he just looked at me and I said, I know haircuts are a necessary evil for you, right? And he's like, yeah. And I told him all the wonderful things about, someone's shampooing my hair, have great conversation with my hairstylist. And the cool thing was he actually got excited hearing me talk about why it was the best part of my day, because it made me happy. And I thought that gave him a glimpse into my life that he has never given not even 1 minute of thought to. And so what I'm finding is, as we're sharing these things, it's not always an accomplishment. Sometimes I saw the most beautiful sunrise when I went for a walk, and it's just giving both of us a glimpse into the other person's life in a way that we've probably never really been curious enough about. And it's raising the energy level so much. And the other really cool thing is, the old versions of all of us, you get used to talking about the mundane, silly little things that are less positive, something that's like really, oh, I went to get paper clips from the supply cabinet and there weren't any. You focus on the less positive things. And so the mundane, silly little things become the big things, because that's what you're talking about. And we've like completely flipped. And I wouldn't say we were negative all the time before. It was just, we weren't putting much effort into focusing on the positive. So
Right.
purple car theory for the win.
Thank you for sharing all of this and for hanging out with me every week.
It's always really good, really, really good coaching. I think that part of what you do when Calm AF, there's still so much to learn from what other people get coached on. I think that's so cool. I mean, it helps you get out of the details of your own shit too. It helps you to level up and see something for bigger picture, because you're like, oh, that's kind of what I'm going through with somebody in my life. It's not the exact same thing. Like, even if it's just a little snippet from a call, sometimes those have been my biggest things that got my rubber band to spring forward. I mean,
Totally.
mind blowing.
You are such an example of someone who has been there, who committed right away. You just have been relentlessly showing up over and over and over again. And you are the picture of Calm AF.
Oh, thanks.
So thank you for sharing, because I think it is important hearing that there are things that shift very quickly. There are immediate wins. Do it shitty. Oh my gosh, I'm going to go home and that's going to be my thing. And also how that just changes everything over time. It's quick wins and forever wins. And I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Thank you. And that being said, I very much came from being a person that would have felt guilty for doing this process. And so anyone who's listening, who's convinced themselves that they can't put in the time and still live their life, I didn't have to completely rehash my life and then try to step back into it. Like literally a 3-day retreat, got my mind in the right place, you know, feet planted firmly in my commitment to myself, knowing that it was going to be an investment for my family. And it really has proven to be all of that. It's not just that I feel better myself. Every relationship I have, my family, my friends, is infinitely better because of how I'm showing up.
Yep.
And it's priceless, really. So I'm so grateful that you and I have crossed paths and that I have learned all of the things that you have to teach, because I see it impacting every part of my life and future generations of our family.
Yep.
Because now even my family has a different mindset around how we show up in relationships and for ourselves. And it's just very grateful.
Totally. And I think, someone has to break the pattern,
Mm-hmm.
right? And every time we tell ourselves, well, I can't, I feel guilty about taking this time, or what if I stop energy managing? That's actually going to make their lives harder. Or the money, what if we need it for this instead of for this? And you get to this understanding of, at some point, someone is going to have to invest the time, the money, the energy, the discomfort. Someone has to be willing to break this generational pattern, because all of our stories, they did not start with us,
Right.
but they can end with us if we are willing to do the uncomfortable thing.
Right.
Thank you, Susan. I appreciate your time so much, and your friendship. My clients become my friends, or my friends become my clients.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah.
Um,
Well, we love you.
oh, thank you. What a great conversation. We talked for hours. We probably could have talked for 2 more hours. But I think it really comes down to this. You have this one life, and there's some patterns that are just getting in your way. People pleasing, anxiety, overthinking, energy managing, perfectionism. These things are telling you that you can't live a life that you genuinely enjoy now. These patterns are telling you have to work on yourself, and you have to achieve some things, and you have to prove some things before you can genuinely enjoy your life. No, you're here to live a life that you feel alive in, that you feel connected and joyful and present. That doesn't mean there isn't struggles. Of course there are. There is no such thing as life without the hard stuff. But you don't have to keep letting these patterns rule your life. You were not the one who came up with these patterns. These were handed to you. Anxiety, people pleasing, overthinking, all of it handed to you. You didn't start the pattern, but you can be the one to break it. How do you do that, though? You do it. You don't keep thinking about it or learning more information or waiting for the right time. You just make a decision, like Susan did. This is going to work. If you're ready for that, and actually let me rephrase that, you are ready for it. If you are wanting to make the decision and get started on living this amazing life, make sure you're on the interest list for Calm AF Year. Enrollment opens August 11th. Details will be coming out soon to anyone who's on the interest list. That link is in the show notes. This is not like a group coaching program where you have to have modules and courses and lessons and homework. You don't need more information. I promise. You do not need to learn any more tools. You just need to start practicing. And that's what we do in Calm AF Year. So make sure you're on the interest list. I will be sending out details soon. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. I will see you next time.